Now that you know the musical alphabet, you're ready to learn what intervals are. And in science class, you use a ruler to measure the distance in between two points, right? So, like, if you wanted to measure the distance in between A and B, you would get 3 inches. But in music, we don't use a ruler to do that. Obviously, we can't use a ruler to measure sound. We use something called intervals, and I'm going to use my guitar as an example there, or to show you this. But wouldn't you agree that there's a different distance between this note and this note than there is between this note and this note? You have to go further to get to this note. Maybe on guitar it might seem a little easier to understand. Wouldn't it makes sense that the distance in between these two notes, turn that up a little bit, is shorter than the distance in between these two notes? You can hear it too. So there is a distance in between these notes, and each of these have different names. But in the English system we use inches on the ruler, but in music we use something called semitones. And I want you to write that down. Semitones. Semitones. I want you to know that. They're called semitones, not inches. And one semitone is equal to the distance in between these two notes here. One semitone is equal to the distance in between these two notes here. One semitone is equal to the distance in between these two notes here. Okay? So if you start on A and you go up one semitone every time, you go up one semitone, another semitone, another semitone, another semitone. You see what I'm getting at? It's like if you had a ruler and I said, okay, well, keep on moving 1 inch. Okay, so you start here, you go up 1 inch, up another inch, up another semitone, up another semitone, you see what I mean? So you keep on getting farther away. Now you need a reference point to do this, obviously. You can't just, you need a reference point here. Let's go to the guitar and see this. One semitone looks like this, going up 1 fret. That's one semitone. Now if I were to say, okay, well, from this note, the 2nd fret of the A string, if I were to say, okay, we'll go up 2 semitones, you would count, okay, well, this is our reference note. You go up 1 semitone, you go here, and the next semitone, you go here. So that's up 2 semitones. So these two notes are 2 semitones apart from each other. 1, 2. Let's do another one. If you go from here, well, let's keep the same reference note. 2nd fret of the A string up to the 5th fret, you would say, okay, well, how many semitones are these two notes apart from each other? Well, you start on the reference note, the 2nd fret of the A string, and you go up 1 semitone, another semitone, another semitone. How many semitones was that? Well, that's 3. 1, 2, 3. Remember that the distance in between these notes. 1, 2, 3. So from this note to this note, there's 3 semitones in between there. 1, 2, 3. We had to go up 3 notes to get to that note. Okay, so now you know what semitones are. You're ready to know what half steps and whole steps are. It's good to know that these are a half step and a whole step. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But one semitone, when you have one semitone going up 1 fret on the guitar from here to here, that's called a half step. This is called a half step. Okay? So one semitone is equal to a half step if you have 2nd fret of the A string. If I said go up 1 half step, you would just do that. Go up 1 semitone. If one semitone is a half step, what do you think 2 semitones are? Well, 2 semitones is just a whole step, right? 2 halves make a whole. A whole step. Okay. That's a 2, by the way. That's a 2. So, a little clearer. There you go. That's a 2. So now you know what half step and whole step is. If I were to say from the 2nd fret of the A string, go up a whole step, where would that be? It would be here. Up 2 semitones. 1, 2. If I were to say go up a whole step from the 3rd fret of the B string, what would that be? Whole step up. 5th fret of the B string. Okay? If I were to say go down a whole step from the 3rd fret of the B string, it would be what? 1st fret of the B string. Okay? So you have to have that kind of reference note to go up. So that's what semitones are. Semitones are the unit of distance that we use in music. And half steps and whole steps, these are kind of informal names for these. There's more formal names that we use, but these are kind of like slang terms. We'll get to that in the next video. But for now, you just understand what semitones are, and that there are distances in between each of these notes. Okay, and the same thing applies on piano. There's a difference between maybe this note and then another note up there, or this note and then another note up there. I don't have a piano on me, so that's kind of you have to use your imagination for that a little bit. And the same thing for brass instruments and other types of instruments. This is music theory, so it applies to everything. Okay. Anyway, so now you know what semitones are. You know what intervals are. Intervals are just the distance in between notes. That's all they are. And you know what half steps are, and you know what whole steps are. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to be talking about intervals some more, and you'll begin to really understand what intervals are. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.